Hello, hello, welcome. We have one person on here, and I'm just going to wait for some more people to show up. This is the Friday live stream where I answer your guys' questions and we just have a little bit of fun and we brainstorm on a Friday afternoon. It is 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central Time, which would mean it is 2 p.m. Western Time. Mountain Time, I think it is 3 p.m. I don't really know what time it is in any European countries, but I'm just going to be talking for a while, maybe for 3 hours today. Hello, Matt Mick. Hello, Manuel Shahid. What's happening? Nothing much. Got 6 people on. Hello, Sister Tenacious. Okay, hold on 1 second, guys. Doing a live stream right now. Please let me know the weird noises. Okay, don't worry. Hello, Philip Reese. We got 6 people on. I wanted to hear from your point of view. If do you think Putin is against globalism? I don't know if he's against. I think he's against the globalism of NATO. I don't think he's against the globalism of Russia because he wants to do trade deals with India. He wants to do trade deals with any country that's willing to do deals with Russia. So I don't think he's against globalism as a concept. I think he's just against NATO. I mean, that's his enemy. It's not really globalism. Assalamu alaikum, Anil John. Wa alaikum salam, I think is the proper response to that. Okay, we got 8 people. Is anybody here a fan of duck meat? Because for the first time in my life, I have tried duck. I made a duck soup, and it tasted pretty much no different than chicken. So I really don't see what the big deal is. People say, "Oh, duck meat, this duck." Duck is a lot more expensive than chicken. I think that has something to do with the way that ducks are raised. I think ducks are a little bit more challenging to raise than chickens. Chickens, you can just put them in cages, which is kind of sad. Yes, I remember the nahari. Nahari is very, very tasty. I had duck meat, especially when it's curry. Yes. I'm sure that tastes delicious, but I'm pretty certain you can get the same effect with chicken. And chicken's a lot cheaper. So I don't know why duck is so distinguished. But I made a borscht, like a Ukrainian style borscht with the duck meat. I got a duck. I didn't kill a duck, but I actually got a whole duck. It was a halal duck, believe it or not. I think it was from some kind of maybe Pakistani company or Indian. I'm not sure, but it was a $25 duck. I must say it was very tasty. It was so tasty that when I made a broth out of it, I literally just threw an onion in it. I threw 2 green onions into the broth and just the duck, and that was it. And after a few hours, you tasted the broth. It was really tasty. That's a pretty That's a solid broth right there. You can make a mean soup out of it. Um. So yes, very weird things happening in the news. Strange things. Speaking of India, I read a story today about a guy who lit himself on fire, and killed himself because uh, his boss for years was abusing him, making him travel long distances every single day to get to work. And he said, can you make my commute shorter and have me work in a location that's nearby where I live? That way, I don't have to travel for a long distance." And the boss told him, if you want to work closer to your wife, then how about you have me sleep with her? And he was so distraught by this that he went in front of his boss, poured gasoline on his own body, and lit himself on fire. The New York City shooter. Yep. The thing about New York City, especially Brooklyn and the Bronx, there is definitely a phenomena of Nation of Islam and Black Hebrewism, Black Israelites. There's a lot of people in New York City who really believe that the true Jews are black, and the true, Moses was black, and David was black, and Jesus was black, and Elijah was black, because the original Israelites, they came from certain part, not from all of Africa, but they came from the places where they brought the slaves over. Not the Caribbean blacks ain't real Israelites, they ain't real Hebrews, they're other types of people, they're Moabites, but the people who came from that region where today so-called Liberia is, where the so-called white man dropped us off because they were so tired of seeing us. Those are the real Israelites. Those are the real Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? And they always have some guy with a Bible, and then they have a guy screaming at random people, and the guy who's screaming at random people will say, "Turn to the book of whatever, chapter, verse." And then the guy will read the verse, and he'll say, the guy reading the Bible will scream out the verse, and then the guy who's doing the speech will repeat the same verse, and then he'll give off whatever nonsense commentary he has. But there's a ton of people like that in New York City. And when you have enough people who are preaching that your people are still slaves, you're living in Babylon, you're truly the children of Israel, we must fight the oppressor, we must fight the Pharaoh, the modern day Egypt, the one that's oppressing us. Um, if you have enough of that rhetoric going on, you're going to have violence as a result. It's just inevitable. It's going to happen. For example, Black Israelites, they'll teach that the Ashkenazi Jews aren't really Jews, and they're really Europeans, and they stole our identity and all this stuff, and they're enslaving us and this and that. And a few years ago, there was a shooting at a Jewish grocery store, and then we had, before that, in 2000, and I want to say 2015, in Houston, was it Houston? It was in Dallas, Texas. There was a horrendous shooting. 7 officers were murdered by one guy who subscribed to that ideology. It wasn't exactly Black Israelitism, but it was, I think it was like Kemetism, which is, to me, it's really all the same thing, but the rhetoric is a little different. So Black Israelitism, they both teach that, blacks are slaves and we have to, whatever, break the chains. And but Black Israelitism teaches that the blacks are the real Jews, and then you have the Kemets people who believe that the true religion of the black man is the worship of Egyptian gods and goddesses, and that Christianity is the religion that was imposed upon us by our white slave masters. They both lead to the same results. Yeah. I grew up on the East Coast, so I came across. Yeah, they're everywhere, all over New York City. Everything is black. Hello, Joshua George. What it is tension between Japan and Russia over oil island things? There's for decades there's been tension well, for longer than that. There has been tension between Russia and China and Japan over the Senkaku, not the Senkaku, it's the Sakhalin and the Kuril Islands, and or the Sakhalin, as some people pronounce it. Um, there has been diplomacy between Russia and Japan, but after the Second World War, they never really signed any sort of agreement on those territories. So technically, those territories are still under dispute. There isn't a technical official owner of those territories. So that's why the tension is more out in the open, because Japan says, well, there's no technical owner, and Russia says, well, it's ours because we're on it and we're going to be taking resources from these territories. But Japan 100% believes that the Sakhalin belongs to Japan. I'm pretty certain that America agrees with Japan. So that's why the prospect of war between Russia and Japan is still very, very real because of these disputes. And also, i- Russia wants to control, Russia wants to be the top dog in Asia. Um, it can't do that with Japan around. You can make the same argument about China, but China and Russia still have pretty good relations economically. And also the fact that China is a country that's willing to still do commerce with Russia and have economic relations with Russia while being one of the biggest economies in the world, that's pretty important for Russia. At the same time, you have Japan, which is a major NATO ally, and has a very advanced military force and has a pretty big economy, and it's right next to Russia. And it has territorial disputes with the Russians. And the fact that it has a history of war with Russia, a long history of war, the fact that the first Russo-Japanese War was sparked over, or was sparked over, amongst other reasons, Japanese soldiers being in China and Russia telling them to leave. And Russia had a war with Japan in a sense as a defense against Japan in China, because Japan had soldiers in China. Um, Japan had soldiers in China, and Russia told them to leave, and Japan said no, and Russia said, okay, well, we're going to have a war. Um, that was amongst one of the reasons why that war broke out. And so this country is still in dispute with Russia over territories, and they're right next to Russia. And so it's like Ukraine, it's right next to Russia. So the prospect of war between Russia and Japan is still very, very real. Very real. And if you think that I am crazy for believing that, then you can think I'm crazy. But, I'm pretty certain that most people would not have believed that there would be a war that would break out in February, but it happened. Pretty certain that most people didn't think that Crimea was going to be invaded in 2014. I'm pretty certain that people really didn't expect um, war in the Balkans to break out in the 1990s. So, and people didn't really expect to see war break out in Europe before World War II. People didn't believe that. People thought, oh, Germany, most civilized country in the world. And it wasn't really that civilized. So, do you know about the Dalai Lama and why China is against them? Yeah, Dalai Lama is a psychopath, and the whole Lama religion is a religion of psychopaths. And China was against him. I'm pretty certain it was something about taking Tibet. I haven't really studied it too much, but I do know that the Dalai Lama, who was ruling over Tibet before the Chinese came, was a psychopath, and Tibet was a hellhole. Dalai Lama is from Tibet, where China took over. It has something to do with their freedom for Tibet. Yeah, I know. Okay, free Tibet, guys. Um, yeah, and when you want to challenge the question, they want to fight you. These guys are the same ones who think the world is flat. I guarantee if they try living in Africa for 6 months, they will cry, "Oh, yeah," because they ain't gonna get their fried chicken. They can't get their fried chicken. They're not gonna get their where's the biscuits and gravy? Where's the cheeseburgers? Where's the fries? Where's the Let me tell you something, if you wanna lose weight, travel. Travel. Don't travel to, like, England or something like that, where you have basically the first Americans living there, and they're eating fatty stuff as well. Don't travel to an English-speaking country, maybe Australia, I don't know, but if you travel to Spain, don't travel to Italy if you wanna lose weight either, because those guys eat pizza and pasta and no. But if you wanna lose weight, go to Spain, go to Africa, go to, uh, maybe India, go to those countries, you'll lose weight. I went to Spain and I lost weight in like 10 days. I shrunk. My stomach went because every single day I was eating fish and rice every day. And you know what? I loved it because it was delicious. The fish was fresh from the sea, literally fresh right from the sea. The rice was amazing. And I drank horchata de chufa, which is basically a milk that's made of water and the flesh of a chufa nut, and it's mixed with cinnamon and sugar, and it's delicious. It's fattening, but it's delicious. But I drank that all the time over there, and I still lost weight. I was eating fish and rice every single day. Um, and I walked a lot. I walked everywhere. Now, when I was in Italy, to be fair to Italy, yes, I ate pasta and pizza and ice cream every day, but I actually lost weight in Italy. And the reason why I lost weight in Italy was because I was walking everywhere. People underestimate the effectiveness of walking. People think that, oh, you got to lose weight, you got to go to the gym and work out for 4 hours, and you got to starve yourself and, I don't know, eat like chicken breast and broccoli every day. Now, if you ate chicken breast and broccoli every day, you would lose weight. So don't get me wrong. But people think that you have to go to this extreme to lose weight, right? Go to the gym and lift heavy weights and scream and all that stuff. Now, if you did that, yeah, and you kept to a regimental procedure, yeah, you would lose weight. There's no doubt. You would gain muscle. I'm not doubting that at all. But if you just want to lose weight, right? You don't have to you don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to lift weights and all that stuff. If you just walked every day, walked like a mile every day, you would lose weight. It's insane. I know this for a fact. Because when I was in Italy, I walked every day and I lost weight. When I was in Spain, I walked every day and I lost weight. When I lived in Mexico for over a year, I was walking every single day, walking to school, walking back home. I would get on walk outside, get on a bus. From the bus, go to the downtown area and walk everywhere, explore. Walk back to the where the buses come up, where the buses arrive. Get on the bus. Bus takes you home. Okay. Um, the bus drops you off somewhere. You walk home from there. I would walk every single day. I ate fish all the time in Mexico too, and the fish was caught straight from the sea. It was amazing. I ate fruit every day, and Mexico is an amazing country to eat fruit in because not only is the fruit fresh and it's locally grown, but the fruit is also very diverse. It's not like in America, you just have red watermelon. In Mexico, you get yellow watermelon, and yellow watermelon, golden watermelon, is way sweeter than regular watermelon. I ate coconut all the time over there, drank coconut water. I ate cactus fruit every single day. Cactus fruit is like grass over there. I ate it all the time. Fresh bananas. I ate that stuff every single day. And I walked every single day. And I was literally, my waist went just like that. I was super thin. Um, I was very thin in Mexico. And you know how many times I worked out in Mexico? None. Didn't lift weights, didn't go to a gym, didn't do any of that stuff. Literally just walked everywhere and just ate fruit every single day and fish. And you know what? I ate McDonald's all the time too. Ate McDonald's all the time. Was still thin. Why? Because I walked. I would literally walk to the McDonald's, which was maybe like a 2-mile walk, 2 or 3-mile walk right to the McDonald's, ate whatever the hell I wanted, and walked back home. So it was like, let's say 2-mile walk. 2-mile walk to the McDonald's, 2-mile walk back home, 4 miles, 4-mile walk. It was amazing. And I lost, yeah, a ton of weight. So far, I lost 25 pounds since January 17th, 208 to 1. Wow. Wow, wow. Economic crisis in Sri Lanka. There's always something happening in some other country. I don't know everything, guys. You can't expect me to read the news about every damn thing. Sri Lanka is on the brink. Does anybody in this chat live in Sri Lanka? Can they confirm this to me that it's on the brink? Is there riots happening or what? Sri Lanka is facing an economic meltdown. Goodness. Goodness gracious. Sri Lanka facing an economic meltdown. COVID-19 pandemic hurt many low and middle income countries, but the island nation of 22 million people stands out as one of the hardest hit. Sri Lanka is experiencing the worst economic downturn in its history, grappling with staggering levels of government debt, spiraling inflation, and a foreign exchange crisis that has led to the scarcity of many essential goods. Long lines snake outside gas pumps, the power cuts out frequently, shops are running out of medicines and other necessities. Another Okay, in April, the government defaulted on its external debt, paving the way for a loan program from the International Monetary Fund. Since late March, protesters have taken on the streets to demand the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, whom they blame for the economic turmoil. Rajapaksa has held firm, but the political ground seems to be shifting beneath him. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Gotabaya Rajapaksa? Sounds like some ancient Aryan name. Hold on a second. Rajapaksa. Hmm. Very interesting. February 22nd, 2022. Sri Lanka's president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, hailed his government's relationship with Russia. Okay. I think I got my answer. I think I got my answer for what's happening here. When I hear protest, here's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, economic problems and there's food, blah, 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 but people are protesting. Why would you be protesting if you're starving? If you're protesting, you're not starving. You're just not. If I was starving, I wouldn't be protesting. I'd be looking for food. You're not starving. So what's going on here? Looks like somebody got somebody mad. That's what it looks like to me. And the way the media describes it, who's starving to death in Sri Lanka right now? It's on the brink. It's the end of the world. It's the worst thing to ever happen in the country. God, I hate Google so much. You know what? I keep forgetting not to use Google. They wanted to shift the agricultural to organic farming and didn't get the job done. All right, see you later, Emmanuel. Good evening, everyone. Hello. Slava Rossiya. It's because of their government corruption, I'm pretty certain. India owns Sri Lankan debt. Being in USA itself was the problem. Doing intermittent fasting. Okay. Hello, Chopo, our Balkan friend. Let's see here. Sri Lanka. Man, what is up with Google? Almost like extremely corrupt politicians stick together. No, that can't be it. They must have angered certain people. I mean, I don't know what to do with that and with that line of thinking because America. I mean, America is in bed with Saudi Arabia, so I guess America is also evil and corrupt too. So I mean, Ted, will the USA give Japan nuclear weapons? I think eventually Japan is going to have nuclear weapons. I don't think America has to give Japan nukes. Japan has the capacity um, to make its own nuclear weapons. What's up, Brainstorm 4207? Pure chopium. So we agree. So I don't really understand what's the point of bringing up this idea. Like, well, maybe it's just two corrupt people sticking together. Maybe it's because Sri Lanka has good deals with Russia, or maybe good commercial ties. It's like India. I mean, India is refusing to participate in the sanctions against Russia. And America is telling India, you got to disconnect from Russia. You got to do this. And India says, no, we're actually going to increase the purchasing of Russian oil. Is this pissing off America? Yes, but India wants Russian oil. It's not just, yeah, it's not this idea that, oh, well, corrupt people are just going to hang out together. No, it's countries buying stuff from each other. They did the same with Pakistan. Yeah. All of a sudden, yeah, Pakistan, now Sri Lanka. America can't mess with India, though. That would be difficult because you have over 1 billion people. They worship this crazy Hindu nationalist. I mean, I guess if you wanted to start a civil war, you could remove Modi. That's if you don't care about hundreds of thousands of Indians dying, maybe even millions of people dying because of some crazy. Because if you remove Modi, there would be a civil war. The people there would just go nuts. I think they would just go crazy because they love Modi over there. The Hindu fanatics, they love him, and there's so much Hindu nationalism in India. It's like what happened here in America. The Trump didn't win, and I mean, they took over the capital. Will U.S. give Turkey interlink air-based nuclear weapons? I don't know. I think eventually Turkey is going to have its own nuclear weapons. Could be given by the U.S. I don't know. India has its hands full with Pakistan and China. Yeah, I know, but India is not cooperating with the U.S. when it comes to buying Russian oil. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen when India just gives the middle finger to the U.S. and just continues to do so? I know it wasn't I'm not saying it was a civil war. America, my point is that if that happened in America where people could be too lazy to do a civil war, imagine taking Mahdi out of the country where Hindu nationalism is so big. You would have something much worse, much worse. India has its hands full with Yeah, okay, I already read that. What is up with this flipping internet? Do any of you guys use Yandex? India has good relationship with Israel. True. That's true. That's true. It also has a good relationship with what is it? With with Iran. Iran and India are also close. Ted, recently Saudi Arabia mocked U.S. president on their national TV. Really? And what did that look like? Hold on, guys. If the internet goes out, just give me 1 second. The connection might be a little slow. Hold on. Okay, we're back. Better than Saturday Night Live? Saudi Arabia. USA. Saudi TV ridicules Joe Biden. I got to start reading the Jerusalem Post more often. It seems like they have more of the tabloidal stuff. A clip from Saudi Arabian television show Studio 22 began circulating on Twitter on Tuesday morning, depicting U.S. President Joe Biden as old and incapable. The minute-long clip, blah, blah, blah. Yep, okay. Yeah, it's pretty accurate, actually. This is pretty funny. It is hilarious. That is it in the above link. It is hilarious. Yeah. Saw that. Kamala looked hilarious. It's scary how accurate. Yeah, the Arabs, Middle Eastern people are very funny people, by the way. They're very good senses of humor. It's probably one of the reasons why Jews have such high numbers amongst the comedian community in America, because I think it's something to do with the Middle East and Semitic people. They're just part of the culture. They're very funny people. Um Yesterday I was looking at this thing. It's called Yandex. Um Yandex is amazing, guys. Everyone says, "Oh, DuckDuckGo." No, no, no. Forget DuckDuckGo. Everybody should start using Yandex. It's way better than Google. It's actually Russia's attempt at copying Google, but it's way better. So I'm on VK, guys. If you are not on VK, get on VK. I'm serious. Get on VK. It's way better than Facebook. I don't have to worry about whatever rules are on Facebook. Um, yeah, yeah, they're mediocre. Sure, I agree, but why are so many of them comedians? They have this culture of comedy. Um, Duck Duck is so, yeah. Um, can you give us an update on Andrew Bizod? Who's Andrew Bizod? I don't know who Andrew Bizod is. Um, they run the media. Oh no, you're trying to get me in trouble. Guys, if you're not on VK, get on VK. Get a VK VK profile. It's like Facebook, but you're connected to the Eastern world. You have all the videos from, yes, VK. If you have all the videos from Russia, you get all the media from Russia. On YouTube, RT is banned in the USA. It's banned. But I can go on VK and I can get RT. I can get anything I want from Eastern Europe on VK. Also, yeah, I'm on VK right now. If YouTube ever decides um to ban this channel, which would be the fourth time that I would get banned, I'm just gonna go on VK. That's it. Um I'm just gonna go on VK. I'm gonna get myself a VK channel, and that's it. I'm just gonna upload videos on there, um, and be done with it. Because on VK, I can say what I want about what I believe. I can say what I want about certain movements and certain groups, and nobody cares over there. What does VK stand for? It's some Russian word. It's like Vought something. I don't know. VK. What does VK stand for? According to Wikipedia, V Konakte, which means in contact. Oh, okay. I just go on VK, and people on VK, they post way more interesting stuff than people on YouTube. Even though I don't even understand their language, they post tons of footage from Eastern Europe. Um, I just have like 6 friends on there. You can go on VK and look me up. Look up Theodore Schubot on VK. Um, yeah. No, I understand that there's people outside of VK. I've heard of VK, so I understand that. It's just that there's not a whole lot of people in America who know about it. It's always good to get another perspective. Yeah, you get when you're on VK, you can look up the news, you can look up posts, you can look up all sorts of things. Do they have an automated translation feature? I don't think so, but Google, if you're on Chrome, there's already an automatic translation function on any website with Chrome. With Chrome, you can right click, or if you're on an Apple, you can control click, and then you'll get an option that says translate this page to English, and just click on that, and it automatically translates everything. Um, you'll just turn into Serbian news. Okay, okay. Well, not all of us live in the Balkans, so we all can't. Not all of us can do that. Okay. It's always good, blah, blah, blah. White Russian. I think he means Belarusians. Belarusian means white Russian. Also on VK, you can call people. You can do group calls. Yeah, you and I have it on my phone as well. I have it on my phone, everybody. So people can write me on VK and yeah, but you can follow me on VK. I am on VK, everybody. Follow me on VK if you want to. Your dad was right about Turkey in 2012 because Turkey is taking over Africa colonies of France and even training Somali. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. They put a big military base down there in Somalia and very close to Sudan and all that stuff. Now, guys, does anybody here have any thoughts on the biolabs in Ukraine? Does anybody here have any thought? I've been reading up on this. See, people come up and say, "Have you heard about what's happening in Syria?" I can't read about everything. Okay, I've been reading about these biolabs in Russia, and it's like, okay, fine, they are biolabs. Sure, they're there, but what's the big deal? What were they doing there? Well, they were working on preventative measures to preclude a pandemic in Ukraine. So they worked with dangerous viruses and bacterium, but when the war began, the WHO ordered Ukraine to remove those dangerous microorganisms to prevent an outbreak because if a Russian bomb hit one of those labs, it could spread whatever dangerous microscopic creatures they have or pathogens that they had in these things. But I've been hearing another narrative. That's the NATO narrative, what I just told you. But I've been hearing another narrative looking at the Russian media. The Russian defense ministry and officials in Russia have said that the Russian military has intercepted documents in Ukraine that show that American scientists were literally doing experiments on people in Ukraine in the Donbass region, specifically on mental illness patients in a psychiatric ward in Kharkiv. And certain people were chosen. People with certain disabilities, mental disabilities, were chosen to be experimented on using a very dangerous biological drugs, and that's what the Russians are saying. We can all laugh at this and say that it's fake, but how do you know it's fake? How do you know it's fake? I don't know. Ted has a stockpile of weapons in his house while talking about your kitchenware. Okay. Ted, Israel just made fish from a vegetable just because of the fish shortage. Fish from a vegetable? I've never heard of this before. Israel. Fi- Never heard of this before. I don't know if you're trolling me right now. I haven't seen. I don't see this anywhere. I think you're trolling me right now. The same Russians that said they'd not invade Ukraine. Well, the thing is that this was discussed before the invasion, actually. There's a Bulgarian journalist. Her name is I can't know. I remember her name. Um, Let me look it up real quick. I have her name here. Where the heck is it? Here it is. Her name is Dilyana Gataandijeva. She's a Bulgarian journalist, and a while back ago, she talked about weird biolabs happening in Ukraine. Just because Russia invaded Ukraine doesn't mean this is not true. That's not evidence. That's not a solid refutation. After Tuskegee, this is like saying, okay, America and Russia invaded Germany, and they found these labs, and they discovered the work of Joseph Mengele. And you could say, you mean the countries that invaded Germany? Like, that's not really an argument. Is VK only for mobile? No, it's for both. Mobile, there's an app you can get on your phone, and you can get it on your computer. After Tuskegee, you can forgive someone for being skeptical of the US. Yep, absolutely. I'm telling you that I truly believe that America brought in all these Nazi scientists into America. Thousands of them. Gave them six-digit figure salaries. Put them in nice properties. Gave them good, comfortable jobs. The Americans were hiding that. They didn't want anybody to know. But eventually it leaked out. So it happens. Yes, America has done these sorts of things. They don't want people to know about it. Just like in the US testing on captive populations. Yeah, and according to the Russians, these experiments were happening in Donbass, where the war has been going on for the last 8 years. The same Russians, blah blah blah. Okay, those same Russians that they say Poland is a Nazi country. I don't know how that's an argument. I'm still trying to figure this out. How are these arguments? Um, Israel called Poland a Nazi country. I mean, does that mean we reject everything that Israel says? Maybe, I don't know, Israel wants to bomb Hamas, and Israel says, Hamas is a terrorist organization. Oh, you mean Israel, the country that it's just that's not really an argument. I don't know. That's not an argument, my friend. See, the problem with these topics is that when you want to discuss them, it comes down to one thing, and that is, well, two things if you think about it. One is your gut feeling, and two is which narrative are you willing to believe in? Which narrative are you willing to believe in? But it's not just that, there's other factors involved as well. It's, is this plausible? Can you compare this with things that have happened in history, with recent history? You can factor all of these things in. I haven't really seen anybody refute these claims. Now, the Western media outlets have talked about the Ukrainian biolabs, but they've also talked about how people who want to make a big deal about them, or who want to make more about them than what they are, they're just crazy. That's what they say. Crazy, and they're stooges for Russia, and they just believe in Russian propaganda. Okay. But that's not a refutation. When you have the Minister of Defense in Russia saying that we intercepted documents, specialists in the Russian government are, or specialists who work for the Ministry of Defense are reviewing documentary evidence. When you see these sorts of things, and they talk about how they were victims in Donbass, and a while back ago, years ago, the Russians talked about how there were similar things happening in Georgia, where Georgian soldiers were experimented. And this is what the Russians were saying. They said that Georgian soldiers were experimented on, and a lot of people died. There's some strange things about Georgia. Georgia, after it, somebody just wrote me on VK. Oh, somebody just wrote me on VK. When Georgia entered NATO, Georgia was desperately trying to appeal to NATO that it is modern and Western, and part of satisfying that appeal was to show that that Georgia wasn't anti-Sodom, that Georgia wasn't against the LGBT. And in Georgia, a lot of people are against the agenda of Sodom. This is a fact. If you look at all of the counter protests against LGBT rallies in Eastern Europe, you'll see Georgians. Okay, Georgia's not Eastern Europe. What is Georgia? I guess it's like in limbo land. I don't know. Is it the Middle East? Is it Europe? I think it's Europe. I think it's Eastern Europe. And the Georgian government wanted to get rid of this because it saw it as a stigma. It wanted to show NATO, look, we love Sodom. Look, look. So there were anti-Sodom activists in Georgia who were arrested and they were tortured. This is a fact. And they were tortured in a very sadistic way. They were sodomized with objects. I've heard about this, and I wrote to a woman that I know who lives in Georgia, and I said, "Is this true? Is this true?" And she gave me a call the next day, and she said, "It is true, but that type of stuff isn't happening right now." It was happening. According to her, it was happening back in the early 2000s because the government was radical, but it's not happening now. Maybe the reason why it's not happening now is because the resistance to Sodom maybe isn't that big as it was. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Israel experiment on Yemenite Jews. Yep, yep, yep. Absolutely. 100% true. It's all about one world government. It's so sad that truth gets to so twisted. See, here's the thing. I don't want to be those people who deny that something horrific is happening and then only to later on find out that it was happening. I don't want to be that person. Uh, I remember when the head of the CDC, former head of the CDC, when he was the head of the CDC, he came out and said, COVID leaked out of a lab. And he wasn't in the CDC anymore after that. But Vanity Fair, late last year, wrote out a very, very detailed article about how it was indeed leaked out of a lab. It came out of a lab. Yep. It was part of the gain of function policy. Absolutely. It came out of a lab. It didn't come out of a bat's ass and just pop up in the air and infected random people. And it just so happened that the first victims of COVID were people in China who lived walking distance away from this lab. And people say, no, it just came from a bat, guys. It came out of nature. Well, the bats who are infected with these things naturally in nature, in the wild, they weren't living in Wuhan. They were living in some place that's like over 1,000 miles away from Wuhan. So how the hell did they get there? And the bats don't travel to that area. So how the hell did the coronavirus get there? Oh, it just so happened that the first victims lived within a close proximity of this lab where they were messing with this stuff and making it more dangerous. So I don't want to be that guy who just hears something that sounds dramatic and say, oh, that's bullshit. It came from a bat. Don't you know, you idiot? It came from a bat's ass. Don't you know, you moron? I don't want to be that guy. Does that mean you accept everything you hear? No, but that also means that you don't reject everything that you hear. You know, there's got to be a middle ground between accepting what you hear and rejecting everything you hear. You know, they're both extremes, right? If you accept everything that you hear and you're 100% credulous, then you're gullible, right? But then but at the same time, if you're incredulous to everything you hear and you reject everything you hear, then you are a fanatical skeptic and you reject everything you hear, and that's also bad. So there's got to be a middle ground. You hear something, don't just flat out reject it. Research it, look at it. And even if you can't find any crazy evidence, that any empirical evidence that 100% proves it, doesn't mean it's not true. You can at least accept something as plausible. You can at least accept something as possible. Were scientists in Ukraine doing experiments on mental health patients in Donbass? Maybe. I'm not going to sit there and say no. Oh, that's impossible. How do you know it's impossible? How do you know? Because the only argument that I've been hearing is that's Russian propaganda. That's not a refutation. That's not a refutation. Now, there was some American Russian scientist who was familiar with this type of work, this type of work that works with that deals with dangerous bacteria and viruses and things like that. And he said, "Well, listen, we have a lab like that in Russia, so it doesn't really prove much." Now he never talked about the claim of human experimentation, but he did talk about the biolabs, and he said, we have a lab like that in Russia. That still doesn't refute anything. That's not a refutation. I haven't heard any adequate refutations. The Ukrainian government said that this is fake news because we don't do that. That's what the Ukrainian government has said. But that's not a refutation. If you ask Charlie Manson, did you do anything bad? Oh no, I didn't do anything bad. I'm innocent. I'm an innocent man. I mean, it's not a refutation. So I don't think we should. You can. I don't think we should just utterly deny this because it actually could be true. Um, the entire modern medical infrastructure uses the cadavers of aborted fetuses for scientific research. This is a fact. It's 100% true. Planned Parenthood, they operate abortions, they conduct abortions, and body parts of aborted fetuses and cadavers, they go to scientists in different parts of the world, scientific labs. In Croatia, there is a giant um what do they call it? It's not like a database, but there's a giant storage unit where they literally store the brains of aborted babies. It's the Croatian Brain Institute or something like that. It's one of the biggest uh, places like it in the world. The biggest brain storage unit is in Kyoto, Japan, and most of the brains there are from aborted fetuses. Uh, so after the Second World War, we knew that a lot of these scientists were mass murderers. We knew that these scientists did horrific things like, I don't know, infect gangrene on young Polish girls in the Ravensbrück concentration camp. That was a fact. And one of the scientists who was involved in that, guess where they parked him after the Second World War? In the state of Texas. In the state of Texas, in the city of San Antonio. And they gave him a nice salary. And they said, oh, you're going to work for the U.S. military now. It got leaked out. How did it get leaked out? Very interesting. Very interesting story how this got leaked out. So the local newspaper in Texas said, oh, the military base has just hired this nice German man to work for it, to work for its research operations, whatever. That was in the local newspaper. Nobody knew who this guy was. I mean, who's going to know, right? That this guy was doing what he was doing. People didn't know everything about the human experiments that were happening in the Third Reich. Okay. So what happened? What happened was there was a Polish girl who was a survivor of Ravensbrück. And she did an interview for some European radio station. And she talked about how she was infected with gangrene, and she was the only survivor in the group of girls that she was with in the camp, in the room that they put her in. So somebody in America heard the interview. It was a journalist. I think he was with the Chicago Tribune or something like that. And he did an article about it. I think he did some kind of article. And somebody called them up from Texas, I think. And he said, hey, just read the local newspaper, and this German guy, they just hired him. Something like that happened. And this journalist from Chicago requested an interview with this Polish girl, spoke to her, and he asked her, what was the name of the guy that did this? Who was the name? I think she gave the name of the scientist who physically infected these girls, but I think she also gave the name of the same guy that was in Texas. I'm pretty certain this is how it happened. It's been years since I read this story. Well, this guy from Chicago wrote an article about how a man who superintended human experiments in Poland was now working a nice, comfortable job in San Antonio, Texas. Article was published. What did the US government do? They took this German guy and they moved him to Argentina and said, don't ever come back to America. Here's some money. Bye. That's what happened. So America has done some pretty shady stuff. America has done human experiments. So when you look at this history and you look at the fact that babies that are aborted, babies that are, fetuses, embryos that are developed enough to have a brain big enough to be stored in some vat in Japan or Croatia, babies of that development in the womb are killed and they're used for human experiments. When you factor all of these things together, do you really think it's impossible that America superintended human experimentation in Ukraine? Is it impossible? It's not impossible, guys. We can at least agree on that. We can at least agree on that. In Philadelphia, they have a new technique to take the baby out in the month. Okay, this is horrific. The rapper's embalmed body was taken to the club for a final show. His name was Good New or something. If you're given a chance in life, which country on earth will you live in other than the US? Russia. That's where I would live. I may completely hate it, I don't know, but I would at least I would at least stay there. I was shocked last week to watch a video of dead rapper being displayed standing in a nightclub in DC. Did you I have not watched the film yet, no, but I will, don't worry. Are you gonna become Orthodox? Probably. Yeah. I think eventually. It's just I can't really go back into the Catholic Church knowing what I know and having the experience that I've had. Maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel, I don't know. Cringe. I know you're so upset, Mr. Chopium. You're so upset, I know. I know. The religion of the Serbs, you just can't stand it, right? I just can't stand the way the Catholic Church operates. You guys know my opinion on this. I've done so many videos on this for years. I've done videos about this. Even when I was going to church, I was doing videos about this. Um, it's just such a horrible place. I just don't understand. I just don't understand how people can tolerate this whole thing, the Vatican. It's just bullshit. It's just bullshit, guys. You go to the church and you hang out with the priest and you say, "Hey, Father, hey, how you doing?" And "Oh, I'd love to see your library." "Okay, you want to see my library? Here's my library." Okay. Priest comes over and I'm showing him the books and this asshole's laying on the bed like he owns the place. Who the hell are you? It's just you don't know who you're dealing with, you know? And maybe you have the same problems in the Eastern Orthodox. I don't know. But I don't from what I've read, I don't see so much of it. I don't think the church was infiltrated. At least not recently. I think it goes deep into history. I think it goes deep, deep into history. Um, thank you, Scattlebetho. Scattlebetho, are you from Greece or are you ethnically Greek and you live in a different country? The corruption in the Orthodox is that there's a lot of amongst the monks. Oh, damn. You see, where I live, there was an Orthodox church, and the guy running it, I think he claimed to be Russian, but he was not. And he was using the monastery as a place literally to have gay orgies. That was happening here in Texas where I live. Oh, you're living in America. Were you born in America or were you born in Greece? Yeah. Chopo, I have a question for you. I saw a video years ago of you were born in America. Okay. I saw a video years ago of Croatian people watching soccer in church because Croatia was playing or something, and they were watching the soccer game in church. Is that a common thing? Now, being born in America but being ethnically Greek, I have a question for you. Do you still consume Greek cuisine? Do you cook Greek cuisine, or have you shifted mainly to American food? That's not common, okay? Because years ago, I saw this video, and if I find it, I'll send it to you. It was like these Croats were they gathered together in this huge hall in the church, and then we're watching soccer. That's just yeah. You've never seen it, okay? I've seen it one time on a video. Ted, have you heard of Christoph Luxemburg? He is a pseudonym of the author of the. No, I don't think I've heard of them. I still eat Greek cuisine. I live in a Greek neighborhood. Oh, damn. Where do they have Greek neighborhoods in America? Where's that? New York City or Chicago? Do you eat dandelion greens? I think you guys call it horta. Horta. I think is that what you call it? Guys, it's been an hour. You know what that means. Hold on. You had before. Do you like to cook dandelion greens, or is that something you don't like? Because I've seen Greeks do that. I think it's pretty fascinating. I ate horta, sea bass, octopus, and French fries with a Greek salad, and finished with rice. But that sounds delicious. I mean, wouldn't be too surprised, but can't say I'd go to St. Francis in search of a football game. So today's beer is a local Texas beer. This is a regional beer. It's called Shiner. This is a regional beer in Texas. It's becoming more and more nationally recognized. Shiner is one of my favorite beers. I love this beer. Last week I tried a beer from the Czech Republic called Czechvar, and Czechvar was good. It's a good beer. Um, it tasted very much like a Mexican beer. Czechvar is a good beer, but I think this is better. So at all the beers that I've consumed, um, I've kind of come down to what type of flavor I like and what brand I prefer, what brands I like above other ones. The only beer that I've tasted that I did not like was Guinness. I don't like Guinness. It's too sweet. It's too rich. Shiner is a good balance. The Czech Far beer and the other Czech beer that that I consumed, a Pilsner or Hurquest, I think it's called. The Czech beers were good. They were light and they were good beers. Um, Oriental beers are good. I like Tsingtao Chinese beer. I like Asahi. I don't like Sapporo. Sapporo tastes very similar to Guinness. So I guess yeah, put that in the list of beers I don't like. Texas Lone Star, it's good, but it's a little bit on the lighter side. A little probably lighter than a Corona. It's actually just like a Corona, I would say. It's okay. Mexican beers, definitely Modelo is my favorite. But I also like Dos Equis and Sol and Corona. I like all the Mexican beers, but Modelo is my favorite. But anyway, this is Shiner Bock. So last week I had a Czech beer. This is Shiner Bock, which originally was founded when a bunch of Czech immigrants in Texas wanted to drink Czech beer but didn't know how to make it. So some German guy made the Spotzel. I think this is what founded it, the Spotzel Brewery, and he imitated the beer of the Czech Republic. But I will say that this beer is better than the Czech beers that I have tried. I don't know, but this is basically a Texas Czech beer, I guess you could say. Um, it does not require a bottle opener because this is America, and sometimes we forget bottle openers. But let's look at the color on this. So you can see the color here. It's a nice dark color. Has that nice golden color to it. So it's a lot darker than the Czech beer I had last week. It's closer to like a German style beer. I guess it's a mix of the two. Very good. This is one of my favorite beers. I love Shiner beer. People kind of shit on American beers way too much. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's a fair attack. I think Irish beer is horrible. Guinness is disgusting. The only Eastern European beers that I've consumed are from the Czech Republic. I wish I could try things from the Balkans, Armenian beer. I wish I could try Polish beer, Russian beer. I have not had that chance because in America, we don't have that. Our market hasn't expanded that far. We do get Italian beers are pretty common to find here. I think one day I'll bring some Italian beers over to this live stream. They have Peroni, well, Perotti, Peroni or there's Moretti, Incusa. In America, you can find Peroni and Moretti pretty easily. Those are okay. Those are very light beers. There is a Greek restaurant where I live, and they do sell Greek beer. And I did try a beer there one time, and it was very light, very similar actually to a Mexican Corona or a Czech var beer. Greek beers are very light from my experience. But this Shiner Bock, I think, is a really good balance between light and dark. It's not that rich, but it's not that light either. It's just a really good balance. The German beers like Vorsteiner or the Saint Stefan beers, those beers are thick and they're heavy. They're slightly sweet. They're slightly more sweeter than this, but they're a lot heavier. And that's the problem with German beers. They're good. Don't get me wrong. I love Vorsteiner and other German beers, but this beer is a good balance. But Shiner is definitely one of my favorites. I love Shiner beer. My favorite American beers are Shiner, Jungling, and Coors Banquet. A lot when you watch YouTube videos and the YouTube videos of foreigners bashing American beers, it's always the light beers. Always. It's like the Bud Light, the Miller Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, whatever. And Busch light beer sucks. Okay, light beer is garbage. Any light is I don't like it. Bush beer is like the wateriest beer in the world, and they have a Bush Light. They made it even more watery. Like, why the hell would you do that? That's insane. Um, but I've never seen people in different countries. I've never seen those videos of foreigners bashing American beers trying a Shiner or a Jungling. Like, I don't really see that. I wish they would, but I think it's unfair. Anyway, very good. I love drinking beer out of this cup. That's my beer cup. It's a plastic cup. It reminds me of the pizza parlors that we used to eat at in California. They always used to have these cups. Always, always. So I love that cup. Your grandfather cooked up dandelion greens and bacon fat. You know what's really tasty? And I think I've talked about this before on a past live stream. Take dandelion greens, put them in a salad bowl, clean them up and everything, dry them out, whatever. Put them in a bowl. Put a little onion, tomato, whatever you want. Beans. I like to put garbanzo beans in the salad. And take some fried bacon, but don't fry the bacon as complete strips. Like cut the bacon up a little bit and then fry it out and render all the fat and just pour the fat with the pieces of bacon on the dandelion leaves and then just dress it up with a little honey mustard or like a mustard vinaigrette or maybe just a vinegar and olive oil or an Italian dressing. And it's so tasty with croutons. It's delicious. It's really good. Just took out seed starters from greenhouse as many got some mold and want to save them all. Can't transplant until next week. Pray for plants. West Virginia state advising residents to start growing their food. Really? West Virginia? Let me look this up. That's fascinating. I think governments need to start encouraging people to grow food. Hmm. It's very delicious. Yes. Don't want to interrupt the beer talk, but did you hear about China delivering missile? Yes, I did. I actually talked about this in one of my recent videos. Yep, it's Serbia just doing what it wants, and America's saying you can't do that. Well, Serbia, for one thing, is not a NATO country, so it's not breaking any rules. Yeah, yeah. Shiner is excellent. They also make some different flavors. They have like a strawberry Shiner, peach Shiner. The peach Shiner is excellent. They made a pecan Shiner. Shiner. It was okay, but it wasn't that. It wasn't that good. The Last Point Sculpting IPA is great. I gotta look that up. The best IPA I tried was the Voodoo Ranger. It was very good. I boil the dandelion leaves and then eat it with lemon and olive oil. Does boiling it get rid of the bitterness? Is that the reason why you boil it? And second question I have is, do you harvest your own dandelion greens or do you buy them? That's the question I have. The reason why I ask is because I've noticed for years in America, people literally murdering dandelion greens, and it's disgusting. It is so disgusting. The genocide of dandelion greens must come to an end. This is an ecological crime. Okay. I think it should be a crime to kill dandelions. I really believe that. It should be. I think if you get caught killing dandelions, you should be fined like $1,000. Try the Leishman Lager is Aussie lager from Australia. I haven't tried any Australian beers. I need to try some. There's Foster's, which is the most popular Australian beer in America. I think it's the only Australian beer that we have in America. Foster's. Foster's Lager. This is funny. It says here that Foster's Lager is an international distributed brand of lager. It is owned by the international brewing group Asahi Group Holdings and is brewed under license in a number of countries. So it's not even Australia? Oh, it says here Australia Asahi Group Holdings. So it's kind of like a Japanese controlled company. In the Korean market, they have two separate dandelion leaves, bitter and sweet. Really? Well, I did not know that. I buy them from a great Korean market and we boil it to make it less bitter, but I specifically try to buy sweet dandelion leaves. Damn. See, I don't mind the bitterness too much. It's okay, but I have a plant that's growing all over my backyard. It's called burdock, and I've been eating the leaves, not the leaves. The leaves are very tough, but I've been eating the stems, and the stems are nice and long and crunchy. and I've just been literally sautéing them in garlic and chili and a little salt with some rice. But I've noticed that when Japanese people cook burdock stems, they always boil them just like the Greeks boil dandelion greens. So today I boiled them for like 10 minutes and they came out pretty damn good. Almost no bitterness. So I think that's the secret to getting rid of the bitterness is boiling them. Let me see here. They make dandelion wine. I've heard of this before. Is it good? I've tried the Foster's Lager. Is the Foster's Lager good? Spring dandelions, their little pale green leaves are not bitter at all. Make great sandwiches. Oh, interesting. West Virginia has been growing their own food in the rural area for decades. Right, but she's saying that they're encouraging people to grow their own, which is I've never heard of any American regional government doing that. I remember the name of that video I talked about about last time. Oh, okay, send it over. Leishman Lager. Foster Lager is a little bit too light. Yeah. See, I like this. It has that roasted barley flavor, which is really good, but it's not too heavy. Like a Guinness is too heavy. It's horrible, that stuff. It's disgusting. My grandmother told me that Guinness tastes like dishwasher soap, and she said when she first tried it, she dumped it out in the trash. The ale was darker. Okay. Let's see here. I think it's a crime. I saw this. Oof! I literally almost stopped this live stream. I saw this video a couple days ago. It was some big house, I think in New York or Chicago, and it was a 8,000 square foot suite in some giant building right next to Lake Michigan. And they show you this old white couple. Well, I don't know if they were really white, but there were this couple there, and they have some poor black guy mowing their lawn, and the lawn is perfect. The lawn is just manicured impeccably. Okay, it's perfect, and they're sitting there complaining about the dandelion greens. They're saying, "We have dandelions up here. How do we get dandelions up here?" And that because the house is all the way up in this building. And this woman is like, "How on earth do we get dandelions up here? Why are they popping up? How are they? Do they have wings?" And I'm thinking, what nonsense is this? Why are you? Why are people? I mean, this is so sad. Americans literally they use millions upon millions of gallons of weed killer every single year. Millions of gallons of weed killer are dumped into the environment every year in this country. What are they killing? Dandelions, lamb's quarter. They're killing burdock, probably wood sorrel, plants that we can eat. I literally have lamb's quarter growing in my backyard. I have no idea how they got there. But for the first time ever, I'm seeing lamb's quarter growing in my backyard. It's amazing that when you don't mow your lawn and you grow vegetables, how many edible plants begin to pop up in your land? How many? Because I'll see new weeds. I'm like, what's this weed? I'll research it. Is it edible? If it's not edible, I'm taking it out. Well, if it produces good enough flowers, then I'll leave them alone for the pollinators. But I like to keep edible weeds because I like to eat. And so for the first time, I'm seeing lamb's quarter. I wonder how the hell am I getting lamb's quarter? Then I remember last year I saw lamb's quarter on the side of the road. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe some birds brought it over. So I've been eating lamb's quarter. I've been eating burdock stems. This is food that God is literally giving you. And what do? You get some toxic, cancerous chemicals and you pour it on the earth and kill the plants. It's evil. It's just evil. It's just pure evil. I absolutely hate it. I hate lawns. I agree. I agree with the liberals. I agree. The environmentalists who say, "Hey, lawns they're a environmental hazard, they're a health hazard." I agree with them. Get rid of these damn things, these abominations. People hate weeds, but I assume that God made them. It's like God is giving you God God is giving you food. Delicious food. But dandelion greens are crispy, they're tender, they make an excellent salad. Great with vinegar, bacon. Here is God giving you natural food. It's good for you. It's good for your gut. It's good for your digestion. And what do? I want to spray it and kill it. Good Friday, goods. I'm gonna spray it and kill it. I want to spray. I want to kill it. I want to get rid of it because I want a lawn. I want a perfectly manicured lawn. That's insane. It's such insanity, guys. It's a mental illness. It's a mental illness. Can somebody please explain to me what is the appeal of a lawn? I want somebody to explain it to me. I know I was born in America. I don't understand this. Someone please explain this to me. Explain to me this. Help me make sense of this mental illness. Can someone please do this? I beg you. I went to like yesterday. I harvested a whole basket load of beet greens because I have beets growing. I eat the greens, let the roots grow out, but you eat the greens. It's amazing. You grow beets and then you're waiting for the root to grow. What do? Eat the leaves. Now don't cut the middle leaves. Just cut the big outside leaves. Cut those out. Enjoy the leaves. It's like God is giving you food, the leaves, the root, and I got a whole basket load of beet greens. I harvested lamb's quarter. I sauteed it all together with garlic and lemon and well, not lemon, but it was garlic and chili and salt and pepper. And I ate it with a side of chicken and rice, and it was delicious. It's a great balance because you want some green in your gut. You want roughage in your gut. It's very important for you. Good for your teeth. Good for your stomach. And it was great. It's great. And what do people do? They say, "Oh, you can't have that. You shouldn't do that. Just buy it from the store. Just buy it from the store. I just buy it from the store." Okay, so you go to the grocery store and what? It, years ago, I met this African American gentleman who was a member of. He was a veteran, and he was a veteran he was a Marine veteran, and well, army no Marine, yes, Marine veteran. He was a Marine veteran, and he told me about foraging wild plants, and this was. I was gardening at this time, but not as seriously as I am now. But I was doing a lot of gardening in those days. And he told me about the importance of knowing which wild plants are edible. And he told me, he says, I teach my son which plants to eat. I teach my son on foraging wild greens, wild plants to consume. He says, because when everything goes down, when everything shuts down, and the you know what hits the fan, he said, you ain't going to the grocery store. He said, you going out, you're going to find your own food. Part of that is knowing what plants to eat. It's important to know. He says, because when everything goes down, I don't want you following the mob, following the crowd like a damn animal race, like a damn rat race, and going to the nearest Walmart. He told me something like that. But he had the right idea. Know what is edible. Understand. And the more I garden, the more I realize, okay, edible plant, edible plant, edible plant. I start noticing these things. One way that I know a plant is edible is if chickens eat it. I watch my chickens foraging and I see, oh, the chickens really love this plant. It's edible. If it doesn't kill a chicken, it's not going to kill you. And chickens know. I don't know. I can only attribute this to God. Okay, because I don't think mother hens teach their chicks, oh, this is edible, this is not. And plus, the chickens that I have, they were raised in a chicken factory. I mean, they have no real mother. Their mother is the machine that warmed up their eggs. I forget what it's called, incubator. That's their mother. So they never had a mother. So they automatically though the chickens know what to eat, what not to eat. If you give a chicken a poisonous plant, he's gonna look at it. Nah, no, I'm not gonna do it. I've never done that before, but I have uprooted lots of weeds and different plants and different grasses, and I'll throw it at the chickens and I'll watch what do they eat, what they don't eat, and you can know what's edible and what's not edible. Just watch the chickens. Just put the chickens outside and watch them. You'll see them. They're eating this. They're eating that. They're eating this. Wood sorrel is a weed that grows everywhere in America. Probably grows in Europe as well. And the chickens love it. And I've tried wood sorrel before. It's an edible weed. You pick it up, you eat it. It has kind of like a four-leaf clover type appearance. And you put it in your mouth. It has the taste of lemon. Literally tastes like lemon. Um, I have henbit growing in my land. Henbit growing everywhere. Henbit it's a wild mint. I literally have wild mint growing in my plant, growing in my land. Do I spray it with weed killer? No, I let it spread because you never know. Maybe you might need some wild mint one day. Maybe you can't go to the grocery store. Maybe you can go outside and you can forage for plants. It's important to have a garden. It's important to have chickens because if you are locked down at home, just like we were back in 2020, you're not worried. In 2020, I wasn't worried. I was a little worried, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't that worried because I knew I could just go outside, I could harvest eggplants, turnips, beets. I knew it wasn't a big deal. And ate garden produce from my yard every single day during the lockdown. You know what happened to me? I felt a lot healthier. You know what happened to my waist? It shrunk because I was eating vegetables every day. Yeah. Anyway, my mother-in-law could tell what plants to eat by the color of their stem. Wow, where are you from, Stardust? The chicken didn't go to public school. In the East, if we have lawns, we must have at least a few plants and or fruits that one. Yep, absolutely. I think that grass is important for feeding livestock because when my chickens are outside, they eat the grass. They literally eat the grass. The grass gives them minerals and vitamins that they need, gives them roughage. They eat it. So grass is important, but not for the reason that most people think it is. It's important for livestock animals. Grass can also be used as an excellent mulch. When you mow the lawn, you can take the grass clippings and you can use it as a mulch. I've done that before. It's an excellent mulch. It decays into the soil and becomes plant food, an excellent compost. It can be used for compost. You can put it in the composter and make your own soil. Grass has its purposes, but the idea of making grass into purely an aesthetic, I think, is insane. It's mentally ill. Grass is also an indicator. Yes, one way that you can tell the soil is healthy is to see if weeds are growing in the soil. If weeds are growing in the soil is healthy. Years ago, I met a farmer in the southern region of Texas. It's called the Valley. So in Texas, the region of Texas that borders with Mexico, they call it the Valley. The Valley is probably the most fertile area in all of the state of Texas. Probably one of the most fertile areas in America. If you ever go to Texas as a visit, I would highly recommend that you hang out in the Valley. Um, it's a I haven't been there in over a decade. I haven't been there in goodness, how long has it been? Over a decade. It's been a long time. And so it's probably changed a whole lot. But when I was there, it was like the region was back 20 or 30 years prior to that point. I mean, it was like a time capsule. I am not exaggerating. I saw things in the valley I didn't know existed anymore in America. I saw a small town with this adorable little plaza, and it had this giant theater. Just this town probably had like 100 people living in it, maybe even less. Giant theater. Could you imagine? Could you imagine living in a town with 50 people or like 100 people and there's a giant theater? I think that's awesome. I think that's so awesome. It's like, hey guys, let's see a movie. The whole town is there. Like everybody knows everybody. Now that has its downsides as well. Don't get me wrong, but there's something so cool about the idea of going to the movie theater and knowing everybody there. It's like a giant family at that point. It's pretty freaking cool. I think that's pretty cool. But I saw that in the valley. Um, I saw people with horses and cows and goats, and there were fruit trees everywhere there. Fruit trees everywhere. Did I see any lawns? Not really, but it was beautiful. It was a great place. It was awesome. It was like I was in the 50s, maybe even the 40s. People had chickens, people had little gardens, people they had cats. It was like I was living in a dacha. The valley is such a cool place. Maybe it's changed now, but when I went there, it was the year 2000 and 2008, I think it was. I stayed there for a few days. A friend of mine's father owned a grapefruit farm there, and he said, "Hey, do you want to hang out on the farm and kind of like have the farming experience?" And I said, "Sure." So I went there and stayed there for about oh, 2 days and a half, and it was a beautiful place. And I wish all of America was like that. I wish all of America had horses and fruit trees and vegetation and all these things. There's something that we can learn from Eastern Europe, and that is the idea of the summer house. So many families in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, the Balkans, they have summer houses. In Russia, they call them dachas. In Serbia, Balkans, in the Balkans, they have a different word for them. But it's like a family has a house in civilization, in the city or a suburb or whatever, and then they have a dacha, and the dacha is the summer house, and that's where you have the chickens and the garden and all these things. And I think what happens is the way it works is that you have an elderly woman that runs the dacha. Your grandma, your grandfather live there, and they run the dacha. And then during the summer, you go hang out with grandma and grandpa, and you live in the dacha. I think it works something like that. I don't remember. At least in small towns, you don't have to worry about annoying homeowner. Oh God. Oh God. Please don't get me started on HOAs. I freaking hate HOAs so much. We don't have a word for summer house here. There's some burzuj stuff. Burzuj. But I've heard they have summer houses in the Balkans. Reminds me of what Gunnery Sergeant Hartman said about Texans. Only steers and queers come from Texas. I guess you could say that about Texas because Texas has Austin, and Austin is literally one of the gayest places on earth. I've only been there like a couple of times, but from what I've heard, it's one of the LGBT community wanted to make Austin into its capital. Then they chose San Francisco, but initially it was supposed to be Austin, Texas. So I mean, Gunnery Sergeant Hartman had a point. At least in small town. Okay. Yeah. Well, yes. Of course, those very small towns are still plenty around. That's good. I hope America doesn't lose that. The valley is very similar to Middle Iowa. Good soil and can produce. Yes, the valley. I've been to. I haven't been to Iowa. I've been to Ohio, and when I was in Ohio, I noticed just miles and miles of just corn and soybean. It was beautiful. I loved it. I wish I could see more of that in America, but it's sad that that doesn't really exist as much. Somebody wrote me something on VK. Dobre. Somebody wrote me. It automatically translates to English, which is cool. Richer people may have a luchera, which is smaller building next to a house used for drying meat and drinking. Interesting. Now, chopo, how common is sausage consumption? Because I saw this video of a Serbian sniper. His name is Dejan Beric, and he has been fighting against the Ukrainian fascists in Donbass for many years. And he eventually went to Russia because he couldn't go back to Serbia because in Serbia it was illegal to fight in Donbass. And he went to Russia where he still has a property and he started a sausage curing business. How common is that over there? I'm very interested. When service members were discharged during World War II for homosexual behavior, they were dumped in San Francisco. I did not know that. If that's true, then that makes perfect sense. Texans are the biggest complainers I've ever met. Americans in general are very they love to complain about every damn thing. The weeds are the first plants to grow in it. Yes. Oh my gosh, this is so true. Um this is so true in what do you call it? In a drought, there's going to be plants who are going to survive in a drought. And there are plants that are wild, that are weeds, that grow, that because they're wild, they understand genetically, they're genetically hardwired to survive perfectly in their environment. So they can survive through drought, they can survive through cold, they can survive through a bunch of things. And I don't know why we're not growing native plants. I have just started growing native plants. I actually bought some lamb's quarter seed. I planted it out yesterday. Hopefully I'll get a good harvest out of it. I think I will, because it's a weed, it's lamb's quarter. But I've been growing dandelion greens and lamb's quarter, and I should start also. I saw this big dandelion plant in my yard, and I'm it's going to flower. I'm going to allow it to flower out, and I'm going to extract the seed from it, and then I'm going to plant it out. I think that's so cool. I've seen, because of I have sowed dandelion seed. Those are seeds. Those were seeds that I purchased though, so they weren't really wild, but still dandelions nonetheless. And I sowed dandelion seed like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Was it maybe 3 years ago? And now I'm seeing little dandelion plants popping out from them. And I'm not pulling them out. I'm going to allow them to grow because those are wild plants. Cured meats, lard, and pickles are lifesavers. I see. Pork is essential. Zakhar Michioff, I know I've asked you this before, but I want to ask you again. Where are you from? Are you from Ukraine, Russia, Macedonia? Where are you from? Because you have a very interesting name. We don't have summer house concept in Indonesia, but we do have vacation house concept either in the mountains or in the beach. Now, Guts, is in Indonesia, is gardening very common? I harvest deer and elk and only grow potatoes. I'm good for most of the year. That's good. How big is your potato plantation? How big is it? How much space do you reserve for potato growing? Do you know Alexei Bichkov? No, I do not. Who is that? What do you think of Sweden and Finland joining NATO? I think it's a huge mistake. It's going to be a big provocation if that were to happen. We have that bulge Audion sounding name. We have that Siberia, Russia. Zakhar is Zakaria. I see. Were you born in Russia? Are you in Russia, or are you living in a different country? Three rows, 20 feet long. Wow. Do you I forget the term, but when you grow potatoes, as the potato leaves get bigger, do you mound the potato leaves, or do you just let them grow? See, this is why I do the live stream, guys. I don't do the live streams to get into technical stuff. I do the live streams just to honestly, it's just to talk to you guys. Okay, that's it. I don't really come here. I don't really prepare for anything. Gardening is common in Indonesia, in smaller towns, but not in big cities. Big cities has the lawn virus. I'm currently in Northern California. Oh, tell me, which are you Are you near Concord? Nothing, easy as pie. Oh, it's awesome. Do you get enough potatoes that last you for the year? Which part of Northern California are you in, Zakhar Michioff? Fremont. Oh, yeah, I've been there before. Were you born in Russia, or were you born in California? We should talk someday, fellow Californian. Let's talk. What do they grow in Indonesia? Oh, you were born in Russia. How long have you been living in America? Mound potato leaves, like cover them with earth. I don't like Voyislavs, but burying them alive seems like oh my gosh. Supposedly, when you mound the potato leaves, the leaves become roots, and then you get more potatoes out of them. That's what I've heard. I just looked up this person, Vojislav said Cecily, Serbian politician, far right Serbian radical party, convicted of war crimes by the International Criminal Tribunal of the former Yugoslavia. Did he bury people alive? I hope not. That sounds horrific. He looks evil. He looks like a redneck you see here in Texas. Bury alive. Did he bury people alive, this guy? See you later, Humphrey. Zakar, not every American hates Russia. Russia has legitimate reasons for being in Ukraine. I don't hate Russians. He had a debate or on live TV about what is the best way to slice people's throats. What? Did you send that to me, or is that on YouTube? Damn. Zakar, if you ever want to talk, if you're on VK or Facebook, write me. Look me up on Facebook, Theodore Schubert or VK. I am on VK. But if you guys are on VK, look me up and add me. Add me up. Hit me up on VK, guys. Because if YouTube ever bans me, which I've been pretty careful about holding the line as far as the terms of service go, but it could happen, and YouTube can surprise you. I remember, I think it was last year. I did an article about a French Baptist minister who was involved in a huge sex trafficking network. He was a French pastor, and he was working with some European Nazis, and he was working with another minister who was a Catholic priest from England, and they were together. They were involved in sex trafficking and using children for pornography. It was really, really bad stuff. And I did a very detailed article on this. Spent a whole week writing it, and yeah, I had to look through a lot of French articles and use Google Translate and all that because there was so little information on it in the English language. But I did a video about it, and YouTube took it down and said, "Yeah, you got to strike for this." And I said, "For what? I'm talking about pedophiles." And they're like, "No, you said some mean things about people of Sodom, so we can't allow this." And it's like, that's insane. I know, Goots. I know. Every year Ted gets banned. Well, I've been here. I've been on this channel since 2019, so I think I've been doing okay. But you just never know. But if YouTube decides to get rid of this channel, I will not fret because I will simply upload my videos on VK. And the cool thing about VK is that it's super easy to upload videos. When you upload a video on VK, it's actually just as fast as YouTube. It's actually remarkably fast and advanced. You can make calls just like on Facebook. You can do group calls like in Facebook. It's pretty remarkable. I like it. So if you guys are not on VK, get yourself a VK account because the only thing I don't want to happen is if VK gets flooded by Americans and then it gets corrupted. But yeah, I don't think you guys would do that. I don't think Ukraine ever properly filed for independence from Russia anyway. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, if I get banned, then find me on VK because that's where I'm gonna be. Hit me up on VK, guys. Hit me up. Can you do a show on Zionist Christianity and how it is formed and shaped by Scofield Bible? The Schofield Bible is such garbage. I hate that stuff. I mean, the Bible itself, obviously, but Schofield was a drunk. Maybe one day I'll do it. I don't know. It's just it would take a lot of studying. I found the Rusty Spoon video, but it's the Serbian and it has no titles. Oh no, that sounds horrific. There's so many things on the news. It's impossible to keep up with all this stuff. I'm gonna admit something to you guys. I read RT. I am an RT reader. That's one website I like to go to. Yeah. There's some German publications, like there's Handelsblatt, which is also a good German publication I like to go to. I'm on there right now, by the way. How to reduce the tax burden. It's worth demonstrating. Oh, yeah, Germany has some insane tax laws, by the way. They tax everything there. Ukraine, first attack by Russian long-range bombers. Schloss approves 2 billion euros in military aid. Oh, damn. So Germany is going to be getting deeper into Germany's getting deeper into helping the Ukrainians out. Schofield is a drunk as you're drinking beer. Okay. Well, you mean this little camp right here, guys? Yeah. Schofield had some very weird ideas. I, I I don't know. I hope Elon Musk takes over Twitter and cleans house. DW is okay. I sent you a link on Hangouts regarding the BRI and how it's dramatically affecting us in the States. The BRI. Oh, yeah. I saw the video you sent me from Brendan O'Connell. I did look at it a little bit, but not the whole thing. Sinking on the Moskva, sinking that for Russia is a heavy blow. Yeah, this big Russian ship sank. I don't know why it sank though. Some people say it's a fire. Some people say it was actually shot down. The German real estate market and the U.S. subprime crisis parallels are so great. 3 top headhunters reveal HR managers are looking out. Blah blah blah. Nobody's talking about Sri Lanka. What's happening in Sri Lanka? I don't see any. I mean, maybe it's exaggerated. I don't know how Putin's war is affecting the world economy. How is it affecting the world economy? Don't sanction Russia, then it won't affect anything. What is the name of your VK account? It's just Theodore Schubert. Wait, is it? I don't even know. What's my VK name? Oh, my VK name is Teddy Shane. I need to change it. Dang it. Hold on. I got to change my name. Dang it. I got to change this. Hold on. Uh, how do I change my name on this thing? I don't even know. Oh. You can edit your first name. I don't even know what I'm doing. Sri Lanka is bankrupt and China bailed out. The entire ministry resigned. Russia and Ukraine are biggest wheat exporters, so the war between them can disrupt. Yes, that's true, but Russia is still the number one producer of wheat. So you don't. I mean, if you don't sanction them and you still buy their wheat, you'll be fine. With VK, it shouldn't be that difficult. You just put your number in. It should have sent you the text. I did it on the computer. If you want to do it on a phone, I think you have to get the you have to start it on. You have to get the app. Just get the app on the phone, which is what I did. Let's see here. I'm trying to change my name because I gave myself a fake name on VK. Personal data. Oh, here it is. I think this should work. Okay, guys, look up Theodore Schubot on VK and you will find me. And yeah, I just changed it. Teddy Shade is a good wrestling persona. When China bails out a country, it means it will become another Chinese colony. Just ask Ecuador. Okay, thanks. Gotta get the app going, I guess. Yeah, if you get the app on your phone, is a that's a winner. You got to figure it out. You got it done. How long have it been? It hasn't even been 2 hours yet. Damn. But yeah, guys, if you haven't tried Shiner, one of the best beers in America, obviously. As mentioned before, I'm already on enough government watch lists. What are you doing to get on government watch lists? So 7 days ago, Sri Lanka got caught in a China debt trap, says ambassador to Beijing, as turmoil persists at home. It says here, envoy Palitha Kohona says his country is seeking financial help to overcome spiraling economic woes that led to public unrest and political crisis. China accounts for 10% or less of Sri Lanka's external debt, and it's wrong to classify the latest economic crisis as part of a debt trap, the ambassador says. Oh, not caught. Okay. Sri Lanka is not caught up in a debt trap by China, according to its ambassador in Beijing, as the Indian Ocean island nation seeks help to overcome its most severe economic woes in decades, a situation leading to public unrest and a political crisis for the government. Speaking with the South China Morning Post on Monday, envoy Palitha Kohona admitted his country was in a difficult situation and had asked for financial support to help it get through the spiraling economic crisis, which had led the government to raise interest rates, devalue its currency, and curb important imports of non-essential goods. So only 10% of Sri Lanka's debt is owned by China. I mean, that's a lot, but it's not exactly like it's not all of its debt. Um, Reading extremist material. What are you reading? Mein Kampf? Somebody just added me on VK. Nigel Smith. Okay. I accept it. Theo is listed on Right Wing Watch. Yep, I know. It's been there for years because I said something, and it doesn't matter how many times I wrote articles about the dangers of the far right and all that stuff. They don't care. You said one thing about gay people, and that's it. You're a right wing lunatic fanatic, and it's like, dude, I can't stand the far right. I've exposed the far right so many times, but they don't care. They don't care. That's the thing I don't like about liberals is that we can agree on so much. Like liberals, we agree on We agree to a certain extent on the environment. We agree that lawns are an environmental hazard. We don't like lawns. We want to see more native plants being grown. We want to see more vegetation. I agree with them on the idea of community gardens and things like that. I agree with them on, for the most part, on immigration. Um, I don't like how the far right obsesses over immigration so much. And yeah, if you say one thing about gay people, all of a sudden you're no different than all the far right people that you expose. And to me, that's just insane. Without VPN protection, Sri Lanka will now receive 20 million Chinese over the next 10 years. How do you know this? You said how much? Hold on, 20 million? I don't see anything about 20 million anywhere. I don't see anything. Have you ever read the book The Pink Swastika? I own a copy of it. I've read a good amount of it, yes. Interesting read. Very interesting read, although it's that book's been attacked so many times. One of the most controversial books ever written. It's like, the Third Reich, yeah, it was actually pretty gay. No, it was actually, yeah, it was. Just go against the one world government and you're on their watch list. Wait a second. This Russian lady that I want to interview, I think she lives in Donbass. She asked me if I'm Serbian, and I'm like, "What makes you think I'm Serbian?" I think I used when I wrote her back. I think I did. I use the Serbian language to write to her. Did I confuse the Cyrillic of Serbian to the Cyrillic of Russian? I have no idea. Oh, no, I wrote in Russian. Why does she think I'm Serb for? She started writing back. She's like "Dobra dobra," and I'm like, "What? What makes you think I'm Serbian?" Anyway, um, guys, can anybody explain to me what is the appeal of having a lawn? What is the appeal? You go outside, you see miles of lawns. What is the appeal of that? Is that is there something beautiful about that? Is there something wonderful? What is the and why do all the Americans who obsess with their lawns, why do they all look the same? They all have baseball caps on and sunglasses. Why do they all look the same? The globalist world government doesn't want you to read Do Estraje. That should make you What is up with that? Can someone help me with this? When I was in Italy, I went to this small village, and I remember walking down this little pathway and walking past these little houses, and every house there was no lawns. There was no lawns. I didn't see any lawns. I saw fruit trees. I saw edible greens. I saw dandelion greens. I didn't see lawns. I saw tons of dandelion greens growing on the road, on the side of the road. By road, I don't mean like a highway. I mean like a little cobblestone road that people walked past. You would see dandelion greens shooting up between the little cracks and crevices on the cobblestone road. You would see dandelion greens growing on the side. You would see beautiful, beautiful fruit trees, apple trees with an apple tree with hundreds of fruit. And the apple tree wasn't even that big. Apple tree was as tall as me. Hundreds of fruit on it. And I'm thinking, how come there's so many dandelion greens in in this village? And you wonder and you realize, oh, that's because they're not murdering the edible plants with freaking weed killer. A clear field of fire. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, I agree. Nice lawns increase home value. Why do they increase home value? Maybe lawns are their way of competing for the emptiest personality in the town. 100% agree. The person who obsesses over his lawn is the biggest asshole. Without a doubt, biggest asshole. Those are the guys that will complain about whatever the hell. I saw this video. I couldn't believe it. I saw this video a while back ago. Some poor couple. This is why I hate America. Okay, oh, I don't hate America. Okay, this is what I hate about America. This is what I hate about America. I saw this video. It was about a family somewhere in America, and they had a disabled son who had to be on a wheelchair. The parents built a ramp for their son so he can get into the house easier because he's on a wheelchair. He can't walk. He can't walk up the damn steps. The neighbors complain and say that the ramp is an eyesore. That's evil. That is evil. And if you are complaining about a ramp and calling it an eyesore, and I saw the ramp, it looked fine. There was nothing wrong with it. But even if it was somewhat ugly or whatever, what's an ugly? How does it? Give me a beautiful ramp. I mean, what does that look like? Oh, it's an eyesore. Okay, is there a handsome ramp? Is there a ramp that's good looking? Give me an example of a good looking ramp. It's a ramp. Okay. And if you're complaining about your neighbor's ramp, then you either have too much time on your hands and you're a psychopath, or you're just a psychopath. You're not a normal person. You're not a healthy individual if you care about a ramp that your neighbor is using so that their disabled son could enter the home because he can't walk. That's if you complain about that, then you are an evil son of a bitch. You're a son of a bitch. Okay, you're a piece of shit. I'm not gonna censor myself because that's how I really feel about these types of people. But this is what I hate about America. I hate what I hate about America is that the neighbor is not your friend. Your neighbor is not your friend in America. That's one thing you need to know about America. More than likely, your neighbor is not your friend. More than likely, your neighbor is scoping you out, trying to find reasons to complain about your property because that exists way too much here. Is this the case in small towns? I don't think so, but it's definitely in the case in the suburbs or in a city. But in a city, you're limited to what? An apartment or a suite or yeah, that's basically what it is. So that's different. You can't have a lawn in an apartment anyway. Um if I lived in an apartment and I had a balcony, I would just grow plants on the balcony. I would grow some leafy greens and herbs, dandelion greens. I would grow stuff even in an apartment. I would grow on the balcony. I'd grow it. Um, but that's what I hate about America. And I saw this one article. This old elderly woman, too old to even mow her own damn lawn. She's too old to mow her lawn. The state comes in and says, "Oh, if you don't mow your lawn in this many days, you could be arrested." This actually happened in 2015. I couldn't believe it. Well, I could believe it because it's America, but it's garbage. It's such garbage. It's an injustice. There was this a black man, Ron Finley, I think his name was. This guy wanted to garden. He started growing vegetables in front of his house in Los Angeles. The police came over and said, "You're breaking city ordinance." And he's like, "What? What the hell? I'm just growing some carrots. What law am I breaking?" And the city wanted to stop him from growing carrots. Meanwhile, you have a very high murder rate in LA. You have people dumping TVs and couches on the side of the road, people littering. There's homeless people everywhere, shitting and pissing on the side of the road. And you want to arrest some poor guy because he wants to grow carrots. It's insane. But Ron Finley fought that bullshit law and beat it. He did. And he started a nonprofit. If you guys are interested in gardening as an act of revolutionary action, I sound like such a socialist. Look up Ron Finley on YouTube. Gardening is a political act. It's not just growing food. It's a political act. It's basically a way of for you to say, I don't want to be a 100% domesticated human being. The most dangerous human being is not the guy who has a garden and chickens and maybe has a well. Those are not dangerous people. I'm sure there are people like that who are dangerous, but they're not the most dangerous people. The most dangerous people are the domesticated humans. A domesticated human is the most dangerous human in the world. I can't think of a human more dangerous than domesticated humans. Why do I say that? Because with the domesticated human, you see, when the outbreak happened and they said, okay, everybody has to stay home and blah blah blah, I was like, okay, I stayed home. I didn't worry so much about food. Why not? Because for years I've literally been storing food. For years I've been storing canned food. I've been storing dried beans. I've been storing rice. For years I've been storing barley and grain and yeast. For years I've been doing it. For years I've been growing food. I had tons of eggplant growing outside, tons of herbs, peppers. I had lots of turnips, beets, a lot of daikon, Japanese radishes. I had a lot of Swiss chard. I mean, I had so many things growing. That that was me trying my best not to be domesticated. In a way, I am domesticated because look, I'm talking to you guys from a freaking computer, but I'm not 100% domesticated. But then you have the domesticated human, the 100% domesticated human. This is the human that eats out every day or almost every day. They order their food on an app on their phone. They are finicky, excessively finicky about what they eat. They are 100% dependent on going outside for their food, be it in a restaurant or a grocery store. They are 100% dependent on it. They don't store food. They don't store shit. You walk into their house and it's like what a big TV, and they got the lawn and the lawnmower, and that's the 100% domesticated human. Or it's the person who lives in an apartment and they're completely disconnected from nature. Those are the people who were going to the store and like taking shit tons of food for themselves, and they were hoarding. That's the word I'm looking for. So that's the problem. When one thing doesn't go their way, they snap. They will snap, and that's why they're so dangerous. The most dangerous human is the domesticated human. The fully domesticated human is the most dangerous human. Now, compare that to somebody who lives on a few acres, they got some livestock, they have a garden, they store up some food, maybe they have a well. Those people are not going to be as desperate because they have a little bit of something to fall back to. Um, it's why I love the dacha culture of Eastern Europe, because there's always the dacha, there's the summer house, there's the garden, there's the babushka. Speaking of babushka, somebody gave this to me from Russia. Somebody sent this to me from Russia. It's really cute. Little Matryoshka doll. I'm gonna put it somewhere where you guys can see it, so that way you guys always remember that I am a reader of RT. I met an American lady in China who complained that the Chinese did not speak English. That sounds like a very American thing to do. The complaining neighbor doesn't want to see a cripple. I mean, it's so evil. It's so evil. And the thing I've noticed also is that a lot of the people who make their complaints about their neighbors are people who go to church. I've seen this before. They go to church. They go to church on Sunday, and then they want to screw their neighbor over for the rest of the week. Um, there was a saying. I think it was about the Quakers. It was something like they pray on Sunday. No, sorry. They pray for their neighbor on Sunday, and they pray upon their neighbor for the rest of the week. That's what I'm talking about. HOA is one letter different from HOS. Do you ever ask yourself why? They are the Eustachis of the day. Best description of what an HOA is truly like is watching Arcadia episode on X Files. I'll have to look that up. That was thinly failed discrimination against the disabled. It's bullshit, is what it is. It's just evil. It's evil. I know it's evil. It's evil. In an ideal society, those neighbors would be dealt with in a very just and legal manner. I'll just put it that way. Clear lawns make it easier for the CIA satellites to stay on you. Mind blown, Chopo. That is mind blowing. Lawns, small lawns can be. Lawns have their place. Like if you have a little bit of lawn, okay, fine, but don't make that the whole damn thing. I would always have grass, always, but for a purpose. Grass can be used for mulch. It can be used for compost, and can be used to feed chickens. Mediterraneans. Okay, Heather Green. I have never agreed with you more than this moment. Mediterraneans. This is Heather Green talking. Mediterraneans are rooted more with their land. This is 6,000,000% true. I can vouch for this. It is 100% true. You go to Italy, you go to Spain, you go to the West Bank, you always see people gardening. What's amazing is that I don't know, in Israel is gardening a big thing over there. I think I think they're kind of big on the lawn thing over there as well. They're pretty much like a mini me America in the Middle East. But if you go to the Palestinian areas, if you go to the where Palestinian people live, the West Bank, everybody garden. Mostly people garden. They grow oregano. They grow whatever. People grow. There's a connection to nature. There, you gotta have that connection. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm not coming from a pagan perspective, but there's something spiritual about just being in nature, like just going out and planting things and holding the soil. And there's something about it. And I think it's because ultimately we are our earth. We are soil. We are soil. We're clay molded together, and we're given the breath of life. And so when we come to that, when we come to gardening, it's almost like we're coming to the source. We're coming to the source of our physical existence, right? Because a human being is multidimensional. We're soul, spirit, flesh, but we're coming to that source of our physical existence. We're coming back to what God used to make us. And it's just very beautiful. I love it. It's a very beautiful thing. This is I've never done a live stream that felt so slow as this one. It's like I'm thinking, man, it must be 3 hours already. It's like, oh, it's 2 hours. Mediterranean. Oh yeah, Macedonia. Now, Robbie, do Macedonians like to garden? Lawns are only good as parks. Yes, I agree with that. Fratricide, yep. Cain, that's right. Cain murdered his brother. Are you fasting? Kinda. I've been eating mainly plants and vegetables and things like that. So I've been keeping it very light. I have been eating a little bit of meat. I'm not gonna lie, but eating mainly plants. Like today, I had rice with delicious burdock stems from my garden. Burdock, if you ever, you should, everyone should grow burdock. I think burdock should be a plant that you should at least, it should be a plant that you should at least grow with just at least one seed, right? Just try to grow at least one plant of burdock. Um, they grow really big. They can grow, I think, at least at most a half a meter high. The leaves, the stems grow about a half a meter high. Ultimately, the leaves are super wide. They look almost like those things that frogs rest on ponds. I don't know what they're lily pads. They look almost like lily pads. But I grow a lot of burdock. and I grow it for the stems. Well, for the stems, leaves, and the root. People ultimately, you for the most part, you're growing it for the root because the root is highly medicinal. Um, but I've been eating burdock stems. The leaves are very tough. I feed them to the chickens, but the stems are tender. And I boiled them today. I boiled them with just water and some soy sauce, oyster sauce, chili, and garlic. And I just boiled them until the not a lot of water, just enough to sort of submerge them. But I boiled them down until they become the liquid almost becomes like a sauce. And it tasted pretty good actually. But yeah, we love Chopo. Yes, we do. Chopo is always a light in this room. I'll be honest with you guys. He makes this whole chat entertaining. My parents are lawn finds, but they also garden and let me have my chickens. That's awesome. I'm doing okay, 117 Rebel. Just hanging in there. Greece, rightful Macedonian clay. Happy Easter, Daniel Ward. Christ has indeed risen. Yeah, Cove Teo's not here. I wonder what happened to him. Poor guy. Drink more beer. Well, I've had one. I think that's enough. Most domestic issues are a generational American problem. Unless one is rural and grow up learning what our elders did to keep stables, they grew. Even people then in cities would grow what they could. True. She says I'm always Russian. I say she's always Stalin. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the joke. I'm always Russian. I say she's always Stalin. That's pretty good. What? Where is that dear Romanian when you need him? Microphone was fell. Any good movies you guys recommend? I don't know. Any good films? What do you think of Abbott busing the illegals? I think it's a giant troll job. Those people may not even be illegal. I'll be honest with you. Those people could just be actors. I still don't get it why some people are so obsessed with the apocalypse and second coming that they are freaking. Americans are obsessed with it, and people who convert to Protestantism usually are pretty obsessed with it. I want to see the Northman. That looks like a decent film. I will definitely be seeing that one. I think there's a lot of Wotanist paganism that's going to be accurately portrayed in it. So we'll see how that film goes. But yeah, Protestants get obsessed with the end times. Some Catholics too, but usually it's just Protestants. They get obsessed with the end times and they're like, "Is this the second coming?" Or like, "When is Jesus coming back?" And I'm thinking, I don't know. We've been talking about this for literally thousands of years. Could we just let's just wait for him to come? We apparently we can't make this guess. Yeah, Northman looks like a pretty epic film. The evangelical Christians are obsessed with the second coming because they think Jesus will rapture them. Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with fear, and also a lot of it has to do with their present miseries and their own circumstances. Like I don't know, a lot of American families are miserable. Um, the son hates the mom, or the son hates the stepdad, and the parents are divorced, and the mom has been married like three times and now she's with her boyfriend, and then the kids all hate the boyfriend, and there's so much of that goes on in America. uh so they probably want to just get out of this world, so they're hoping that Jesus comes tomorrow to save them. That's always been my theory about this fixation. They live. Oh, I've never seen that. The Batman. Which Batman film? The Day. What's The Day about? Day After or just The Day? The Day is a movie from 2011. Post-apocalyptic world. Canadian post-apocalyptic film directed by Douglas Arniofs Arniolkowski. Arniolkowski. The film stars Ashley Bell, blah, blah, blah. Rotten Tomatoes gave the film a 29%. You know, you can't always trust these reviews because I have seen films that were given like 100% by Rotten Tomatoes or 99% from Rotten Tomatoes, and they were just awful movies. You can't always trust us. I will stand by this until I'm dead. Divorce is a war crime against the concept of family. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not always true, but I would say the liberal way that we go about divorce has been pretty destructive. Rapture as being swooped into the clouds sounds a lot like being caught in a nuclear explosion. I go by what the audience says. I think the best way to see if a film is good or not is to watch the trailer and read the comments. I don't even watch the trailer anymore. I just read the comments. And if I see enough people saying this was a masterpiece, then I'll watch it. I watched Demolition Man the other night, way ahead of its time. Demolition Man? Somebody wrote me on VK. See if I can respond to them. But yeah, I hate lawns. Um, I one of my little guilty pleasures is to go on YouTube and look up lawn YouTube channels. I find them so entertaining. You have these people, they all look insane, and they have entire YouTube channels completely dedicated to lawn maintenance. And then I'll read the comments. And they have videos on things like how to kill dandelion greens, how to kill common mallow, how to kill burdock. These are all plants that are amazingly edible and highly nutritious for us. And they have videos on how to destroy food. It's insane to me. The Batman was good. Okay. It's insane. It's so sickening. It's so sickening, guys. I saw a video. It was how to eradicate dandelions, and the video had over 500,000 views. And I'm reading all the comments, and you know what gave me a glimmer of hope? What gave me a glimmer of hope was that there were enough comments under that video saying, "I'd rather have dandelions than grass." Yeah, trees are too expensive, but we'll spend hundreds to fertile. Yep. Get a goat if you want to keep all the weeds away. Yeah, they're natural lawnmowers. So I've heard. Yeah, lawns, turkey bashing, and also don't forget supporting the death penalty. I like movies based on true stories or fictional stories that I think will reveal real. Yeah, I agree. I love films that are based on reality. I'm not too crazy about like zombie movies. I like watching humans just be evil normally. I don't have to see a zombie movie. How to eradicate dandelions. When I've tried dandelions, it was very bitter. How do you eat them? So so bitterness is one of the things that our taste buds recognizes. So our palate can recognize several different flavors. We can recognize sweetness, we can recognize sour, uh, uh, umami, savoriness, and then you have bitterness. I may have missed one, but bitterness is one of the things that we can taste. Bitterness by itself is not the best thing, but bitterness with other things can be very good. It's like a beer. If I gave you a beer that was just as sweet as a Dr. Pepper, you wouldn't want to drink it because beer is not supposed to be sweet, not entirely sweet. It's supposed to be mainly bitter, maybe some sourness from the hops, but beer is supposed to be mainly bitter. So bitterness has its place in the culinary world. So the way that you enjoy dandelion greens is not by getting rid of the bitterness. You can by boiling them, but if you want to eat raw dandelion greens, the way that you can enjoy it is by complementing its bitterness with something else. So with dandelion salad, I love to make a honey mustard vinaigrette, and that's made simply by taking olive oil, mixing it with mustard sauce. I prefer Dijon mustard, but you can use regular mustard, and whisking it in, and then adding lots of honey and whisking that in, and then you can add black pepper, salt, little chili seeds if you want it spicy. Add a little lemon juice, vinegar. You can add whatever you want and taste it. You like it? That's your honey mustard vinaigrette. Take the dandelion salad, add some garbanzo beans, raw onion, sliced tomato. You could add croutons, black pepper, chilies, make it a little spicy, and then you put your dressing on. If you want to make it even more flavorful, you can chop up some bacon and fry it, and then put the bacon fat with the little pieces of bacon on top of the salad. It's excellent. So yeah, if you want to cook dandelion greens and you don't want to have the bitterness, then you can do what the Greeks do and boil it in water, and then you boil it, you blanch it for like a couple of minutes, take it out of the boiling water. The bitterness is now in the boiling water, and then you can just let it cool down, or you can just put it in ice cold water to make it cold again, and then you can have sort of a cold cooked dandelion leaf without the bitterness, and then you can mix it with lemon juice, garlic. That's what they do in the Mediterranean. You should start a new channel for cooking wild food. Yeah. Well, I put some cooking videos here already. I do that once in a while. Jalapeno mustard is really good. It does sound good. Have you seen the movie The Outlander? No, I have not. Oh, man. Oh, it's a drama series, TV series. What's it about? I'd love to have you cook for me everything you talk about. Maybe I should start a restaurant one day or a catering service. The movie is more closer to reality than people think. Umami. Oh man. Sorry, somebody wrote me on VK. I'm just responding back. Shouldn't be doing this in the middle of a live stream though. Theo's Diner. That does ring a bell. Shoebot Steakhouse. No, I think Theo's Diner. That pretty much rings a bell. All right, guys. So how about this? Let's do some music recommendations. Let's do some music. Can you listen to the intro song from Koto Tamo Peva and give us your thoughts? Sounds creepy, huh? Sounds a little too sporadic. What are you going to do when the grid goes down? Is that a song? 2 cap 420. Oh, what am I going to do when the grid goes down? I don't know. Just try to survive my best I can. Za Beograd. Oh, that's the same song I just played. Waylon Jennings. Which song from Waylon Jennings? Oh, it's a rap song. It's a theme throughout the movie. The text keeps going more ominous. Spoiler alert, last version sings about Germans. Interesting. Do you like any songs by INXS? I never even heard of them. INXS. Need You Tonight. I think I've heard this before. No, I haven't heard of this before. Is this English? I don't like this music. Way More Blues. Oh. I guess it's okay. It's okay. It has that old school kind of sound to it. Any other songs that you guys recommend? Beogradsky Syndikat. Lujubav Uinat. I thought you were from Indonesia. You got into Balkan music recently? Oh no, is this a rapper? Yeah, it's okay. It's like rap. You're a tough music critic. No, there's a certain mood I like. You know, some of that old American stuff, old blues stuff, is too flat for me. It's just I don't know. There's nothing beautiful in it. There's nothing elegant about it. It's just ugh. It's like Elvis. I never really found any beauty in it. My favorite song is a Formula One car at 1500 RPM or 15,000. I don't even know what that means. I had to magnifying the text on the chat because my vision is just out of whack right now. I don't have my glasses on. Any other weird songs you guys want to send to me? This song is for comedy. It's called Straight Outta Compton Oktoberfest Edition. Orthodox metal.
Straight outta Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. From the gang called fellas with attitudes. When I'm called off, I got a sold off. Here's the trigger and bodies are hauled off. You two boys, if you mess with me, the police are gonna have to come and get me off your ass. That's how I'm going out. For the pump, for the bitch, someone out. Just such a mumble. Wanna rumble, listen and cooking in a pot like bumbo. Going off on a motherfucker like that. With a gat, that's pointed at your ass. To give it up smooth, ain't no telling when I'm down for a jack groove. Here's a murder out to keep you dancing with a drum record like Charles Manson. AK-47 is the tool. Don't make me act like a crazy fool. And the beat make you go take a toe, no maybe. I have fellas out the box daily.
That's funny. Somebody sent me a song. Oh, this is Croatian. Oh no. Only 28,000 views for this? Not bad, actually. Has a nice Balkan sound to it. Byzantine secular music. Not bad. That's nice. Yeah, it does sound very Greek in its rhythm. Yeah. It sounds very much like George Delaris. That's what it reminds me of. Of course, it's nice. I sent it to you. Westerners have too much time. Megaloschemos, Bulgarian hymn. Nice. That's really epic. Nice. Very deep, this music. There's a lot of dimensions of harmony and sound in them. Do you have a favorite band? Not really. It depends on my mood. If I had to pick a band that to me was the most brilliant, rhythmically speaking, it would be Livestock, which was a Belarusian punk band that came out back in the 1990s. And to me, Livestock, just rhythmically was a brilliant band. Somebody sent me something here. Nice. No, it was good in the beginning. I like the folkish sound to it, but I'm not too crazy about the sort of the romantic era music sound. Here, I'll spell it out for you. I think rhythmically speaking, Lipa Zrobitskoy was just they were so good at making rhythm. I've never seen a band like them that made such good rhythm. Not all their songs are great, but most of their songs are. The lead singer formed a new band called Bruta, which is Brutto. And that band also made some great music. O Gliki Mu Vangelis and Irene Papas. It's nice. Thank you. Thank you for that. Dandelion greens help clean the liver. Yep, that's right. Psalm 50 in Aramaic. I think I've heard this before. Pretty certain I've heard this. Oh, this is some. Yep, I've heard this. I heard this so many years ago. This something happened in 2014, in the year 2014. Something happened where there was this explosion in interest in Eastern Christianity. And I think the reason for this was quite obvious. It was because of ISIS, because Eastern Christians were the ones being butchered. And for the first time, we actually witnessed real persecution. And people were being beheaded and shot and all these things. And so people began to have a legitimate interest in Eastern Christianity. And a lot of people became either Eastern Orthodox or they went into Roman Catholicism. And so I remember in those days, 2014, 2015, this type of music just became very popular on the internet. But yes, I remember this piece. Hey man, nice shot by Filter. Not bad, actually. Good, like 1990s vibes. This is pretty good, actually. Good rhythm. Good verse. Nice. I like it. This is good. I'm going to definitely save this one. I'm going to save this one to my watch later list. Polyelios, Psalm 135. Yep, I know this one. Yep, I know this piece. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Huey Lewis and the News, Hip to Be Square. This is some 1990s stuff. Oh, this is like 80s. It's okay. Like real old school. Some old school stuff. You sent me there a song? Okay, hold on. Not bad. Not bad. Nice. I like it. I like it. I'm gonna save this one. The Package by Perfect Circle. You mean that song where he says, lying to get what I came for? What was how did it go? Yeah, I'll play it. Hold on. It was like a long song, I remember. Package, yeah. Yep, I remember this. Lying to get what I came for. Yep, I remember this. Lying. Yep. Lying. Yep. Yep. Lying. Yep, it's nice. It's a good song. Chemical Ride by 3 Years Hollow. I've heard this. Nice. I like it. Give me a little early 2000s vibe. Nice. Nice. Good rhythm. Nice. This song came out in 2014. Wow. Okay, you sent me in there. Hold on a second. Let me get up on here. Nice. I like it. Kind of a shift in tone there. But yeah, it's not bad. Smoke City Underwater Love. Some old stuff. 1997. Nice. I like it. I like that rhythm. I like it. Oh, I'm listening to this. I like this. I like this. I'm gonna save this one. I'm gonna save this one right now. Oh, this is some old slave music. This music would be awesome if it okay. I don't know how else to explain it, but if they just keep it at this rhythm right here, this is good. This is good. This is good. I like this. But then it starts doing this right here. Down, down. I don't like that. This is some real blues music, though. You know what? I like this too, believe it or not. There's something haunting about this. It's not bad, actually. Something hauntingly depressing about this. I'm gonna save this one too. This is good drinking music. You were the one who turned me to it. Turned you to what? To what type of music? Slave me. Okay, my bad. I shouldn't have said that. Dark was the night. It's nice though. Okay, hold on. Somebody sent me a song here. Let's listen to this. Sprovod. Not bad. Has that crazy Slavic sound to it. Funeral. Not bad. It kind of reminds me of Greek music. Not bad. It's okay. It's not bad. Farshid Arabi. Scream out. Bodul music. What's Bodul music? Persian metal. I finally seen it all. I have seen it all, guys. Listen to this. This is not Persian metal. This is just metal music with Persian guys singing it. Wait, I hit the wrong button. You see, I think if you're from a different country but you want to do rock and roll, I think you should infuse some aspects of your country's music to metal or to rock. That's one thing that System of a Down did so brilliantly is they were able to synthesize metal or rock and roll with Middle Eastern harmony. And it was a beautiful combination. But this one, I don't really see that. I wish they would maybe add a Persian tar or, yeah, maybe Persian drums or something like that would be good. But I'm not seeing it with this one. Choco. No, this chorus isn't bad. This isn't bad. Massive Attack is a great band, Mr. Ortho Christos. Castlevania, have you played this video game? No, I have not. Too Old to Die Young by Brother Dedge. Oh, we're getting deep in the heartland here. We're leaving the HOA lawn deserts. We're entering the deep country, the backwoods right here, guys, the marshlands. It's not bad. The Host of Seraphim by Dead Can Dance. Not bad. It's like a kind of a Balkan folkish style of singing with modern ambience in the background. Oh, Croat Islanders, I see. Mabagal by Daniel. Oh, this is some Asian stuff. Is it? Yep, it's Asian. Looks Indonesian. This is cafe chill music that's been orientalized. It's chill music from Asia. You sent me something here. Okay, hold on. Song of the Volga Boatman. You know, the first time I ever heard this piece of music, it was in the, I think it was in the late 1990s, and it was Cartoon Network had this old ass cartoon from like the 1930s or 40s they were playing, and they had this playing in the back. It was the first time I ever played this. Well, Goods 166, if you want to send me a song, go ahead. I'll play it. But I'm gonna get going pretty soon. It's been 3 hours, guys. I don't know how professional streamers do it. I guess they're motivated by the money that they keep getting. But you got these guys on Twitch that are just, ugh. Do you know what the Volga Boatman refers to? Actually, no, I don't. Some kind of tragedy, right? Somebody drowned. Somebody was massacred. Millions died. Song of the Volga Boatman. After the well-known traditional Russian song collected by Mili Balikirev and published in his book of folk songs in 1866, sung by Buryaks or barge holders on the Volga River. Balakirev published it with only one verse, the first. The other two verses were added at a later date. Ilya Repin's famous painting, Barge Holders on the Volga, depicts such burlaks in Tsarist Russia tolling along the Volga. The song was popularized by Fyodor Chalapin and has been a favorite concert piece of bass singers ever since Bill Finnegan's jazz arrangement for the Glenn Miller Band took the song to #1 in the US charts in 1941. Russian composer Alexander Glazunov based one of the themes of his symphonic poems Stenka Razin on the song. Spanish composer Manuel de Falla wrote an arrangement of the song, which was published under the name Canto de los Remeros del Volga in 1922. Okay, well, what is the song even about? Oh, the towboats. Okay. Night Stalker, the dog that no one wanted. This is gonna be the last song, okay? Nice. 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 That's really good.
Forget where you came from, running away from the sea.
Nice.
It makes no difference, trusting yourself now. You saw what you had to see.
Very nice. Very nice. Has kind of a Jimi Hendrix type sound to it. Buddhist metal, demonic resurrection, Buddha the teacher. Yeah, that does sound Japanese. Some ancient Indo-Oriental stuff. Interesting. Okay, guys, I'm done. I've been doing this for 3 hours. I'll see you all probably tomorrow. Okay. Have a good day. God bless you guys. You guys just heard some theology. Be well.